Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the Skyrim cities in order from my least favourite to my favourite. Of course, this list is entirely subjective, and if you guys disagree, please be sure to leave your personal ranking in the comment section below. Plus, if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you left a like and subscribed. But of course, that is merely your choice. Right, with all of that out of the way, let's get to what you came for. Let's get to the ranking. The first 4 cities on this list frankly aren't even cities. Every one of them feels far too small, so small that they could even be considered towns. They are also all incredibly similar in appearance, with buildings of exactly the same or very similar architectural styles. However, since they are officially classified as hold capitals in Skyrim, I have no choice but to include them on this list, and I will be referring to them as cities. So, the first of the disappointing 4, in at the number 9 position, is going to be Morphle. The reason I believe this is the worst city in the game is mainly due to its dismal setting, being situated in the middle of a swampy area near Solitude named Drajkmir Marsh, and I almost definitely did not say that right, so I apologise. The hold is inhabited is named Hjalmarch. Whilst I'm not necessarily against all swamp settings, and I do believe that if done right they can be made quite interesting, Morphle's swamp unfortunately simply isn't. It's visually very dull, and the town itself has very little interesting things to see or do, on top of its exceptionally small size. This is why Morphle gets the number 9 position on my list. At number 8, we have Dawnstar. Just like Morphle, Dawnstar is a city so small it could well be considered a town, with its small size meaning there really isn't much in the way of interesting to see or do here. It's really just a collection of several houses on Skyrim's north coast, facing the frozen Sea of Ghosts. It is the capital of the Pale. The reason I put this one higher than Morphle is that I think the setting, being situated in a frigid, snowy tundra area, is a little more interesting than that of the swamp. Still though, Dawnstar is overall a very uninteresting city. Next, at number 7, we venture to the southwestern reaches of Skyrim to the city of Falkreath. Once again, Falkreath is incredibly small and rather generic, with it really just feeling like an extended version of Riverwood. Despite the town itself's lacking appearance, however, it is situated in a very picturesque corner of the world, surrounded by mountains and lush pine woodland. It is also nice in that it is very close to the beautiful Lake Ilianata, and I do quite enjoy the mellow, comfortable atmosphere that the town gives off. It's also unique in that the location is heavily tied to werewolves and the Daedric Prince Hircine, giving it a bit of a dark secret, which is quite enjoyable to uncover. Compared to the following cities on this ranking, however, Falkreath unfortunately doesn't even come close. The last of our town cities, we have at number 6 the city of Winterhold. Winterhold is, like Dawnstar, located on Skyrim's north coast facing the Great Sea of Ghosts. I put it higher than the others, however, for 2 primary reasons, those being the awesome College of Winterhold and the fascinating history the place has. As far as I'm aware, it may actually be the smallest city in the game, but despite this, it contains some very interesting things to discover. For example, the College of Winterhold itself is a grand, impressive spectacle, acting as a fantastic setting for Skyrim's Magic Guild. I love how they actually gave it a unique architectural style and appearance, being connected to the mainland by a thin, half-collapsed bridge. It is said that Winterhold itself was once much larger, being even as big as some of the other major cities, but that a great earthquake occurred which resulted in half of the city collapsing into the ocean below. What's of note about this event, though, is that the college survived, despite how far out it was at sea compared to the rest of the city. This led scholars to theorise that the college itself had some part to play in the city's destruction. All this rich lore and history helps to put Winterhold at the number 6 position on this list. Next, I'm going to give the number 5 position to the grand city of Whiterun. It is located near the centre of the map, surrounded by vast plains in tundra, with huge mountain ranges visible in the distance. This will most likely be the most unpopular placement on this ranking, but please allow me to explain. I think a big reason why many people regard this city in such a favourable manner is merely nostalgia, with it being for most players the first major city you visit in the game. However, Whilst I do think Whiterun is an exceptional city, I believe that the other 4 in the game are simply better and more interesting. As for what I do like about the city, however, I love how it is divided into 3 separate areas, being the Plain District at the bottom, the Wind District in the middle, and then at the top the Cloud District, housing the looming fortress that is Dragon's Reach. There is a real sense of separation and distinction between these 3 areas which I really enjoy, giving the city some variety in things to see. I also love Jorvaskir, an incredibly Viking-looking building which acts as the home of Skyrim's fighting guild, the Companions. Another building of note here is the huge fortress of Dragon's Reach, with many different rooms and hallways to be discovered inside its walls, housing many different sights to see. Because of this, I put Whiterun at number 5 on my list. It's a great city, please don't get me wrong, I just think that the other cities are better and more interesting. At number 4, we'll venture to the ancient, impenetrable fortress of a city that is Windhelm. It is located far to Skyrim's east, near the border to Morrowind, and it is in fact one of the most ancient Tamrielic cities ever constructed. In fact, it is said that the Great Grey City was built by the ancient Atmorans soon after they first set foot upon Tamrielic soil. As such, it sports an incredibly unique and distinct architectural style, unlike any of the other Skyrim cities, with high walls and buildings constructed of the harding materials, a very Viking-esque influence permeating throughout the entire cities. There is lots to discover here, with the towering walls making the place come across as a sort of maze at times. You'll come across dozens of intertwined narrow streets which weave through the city like rivers, dominated by the towering Palace of Kings where the Jarl can be found. Another area of note is the ostracised Grey Quarter section of the city, an area consisting of many different cultures and lifestyles. This is because it is the area in which all the city's Dunmer, or Dark Elf inhabitants are forced to live in due to the overwhelmingly prejudiced views of the local Nords. As such, they bring with them elements of the culture they left behind in Morrowind. Now, whilst I do absolutely love all of this fascinating history and I think Windhelm is an incredible city in Skyrim, it's certainly not my favourite, as I'm not a massive fan of how dark and grey the city's aesthetics are. It's a bit too grim for my liking. Still though, I love how unique the city is compared to others in the game, which is why I'm going to put it at the number 4 position on this list. For my number 3 position, I'm giving it to the magnificent capital city of Skyrim, Solitude. Solitude is located to the northwest, and it is also the capital city of the Hafingahald. What's most unique about the city is where exactly it is situated. Specifically, the main part of the city is located atop a massive arc of land which overlooks the Calf River, where a massive dock area can also be found. This position makes clear Solitude's superiority over the other cities in terms of power, as it is the capital, and it also provides incredible views of the surrounding landscapes. In the city itself, the architecture has a very Roman influence, as if it could have been taken directly from Cyrodiil, while still retaining some key areas of Nordic influence. There are many different shops and services available here, with a variety unfound in any of Skyrim's other cities, providing goods and services to visitors from all walks of life. Also of note is the enormous, grand blue palace at the end of the stone arc, where the ruling king and queen of Skyrim can be found. Whilst I do absolutely adore Solitude, mostly because it actually feels like a huge, bustling capital city, it certainly isn't my favourite, as the next 2 cities are almost perfect in my opinion. But, because of the good aspects of it, Solitude will get the number 3 spot on my list. For the penultimate pick on this list, at number 2, I chose Riften, a trading hub of a city located partially atop Lake Honrick to the southeastern corner of Skyrim, surrounded by the mountains that separate it from Morrowind and Cyrodiil. There is so much unique about this city, but it's hard to really describe it all, but one of my favourite aspects of it must be the architectural style and overall layout of the city. It is constructed almost entirely out of wood, meaning it has actually suffered several major fires in its history. Throughout the centre of the city runs a canal which many bridges can go over, connecting different parts of the city. This canal eventually leads out into Lake Honrick itself, where the city transforms into a large dock area where the platforms sit upon stilts atop the water. I love how unique this layout is compared to the other cities in Skyrim. Another aspect of note in Riften is that of a ratway, a series of intertwining tunnels and dungeons beneath the city that act as a hub for thieves and criminals and house the mysterious Thieves Guild, who have taken up occupancy here. I also adore the surrounding landscapes and how they correlate with Riften's aesthetics. Specifically, the surrounding area, known as the Rift, is awash with colourful birch and pine trees that conjure a lively and optimistic atmosphere. Overall, Riften is a fantastic city which is practically perfect in every way, with an interesting history, fascinating layout and design, and plenty to do in it. This is why it gets the number 2 position on my ranking, because despite all this brilliance, I believe there is one city in Skyrim which narrowly tops it. I believe that the best city in Skyrim is Markarth. This city is one that may completely surprise you upon your first playthrough of the game, with a culture and style unlike any you may be expecting. The city is found in a region known as the Reach, far west in Skyrim. It is the last settlement you'll find in this part of the province, before the landscape gives way to a series of impenetrable mountains and eventually the province of High Rock. As for the city itself, what I love most about it is its appearance. Being an ancient Dwemer city, it is constructed out of stone, metals and machinery, giving it an ancient yet simultaneously advanced appearance. Here, you'll find towering spires built into the mountainsides, and countless shrines, among other buildings, connected by narrow pathways that snake up the cliff face. It also has a somewhat Roman feel, with golden rooftops and buildings built out of the purest white stone. But still, the uniqueness of Markarth as a city cannot be understated. There is so much to discover here, with branching pathways leading in all directions. You may come across an area in which 2 huge waterfalls cascade down the surrounding cliffs, with huge stone bridges crossing them and providing access to another part of the city. In short, the layout and design of Markarth is second to none, with not even the sheer vertical cliff faces cornering it on almost all sides being inaccessible with pathways. Plus, beneath the city, you'll find a network of ancient Dwemer ruins and dungeons which house their destructive machines from ages long ago. In the city of stone, nothing ever changes. That is what they say about Markarth. Right, that does it for my ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you disagreed with my rankings at all, please let me know in the comments below. I also just want to apologise. I know there were a few times where I slipped up a little bit. Maybe I said something twice or I didn't say something quite right. I am working on improving my narration. Sometimes I make mistakes, but I hope you guys can forgive me. Anyway, see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.